Students, in this video, I would like to continue with my discussion on the chapter The Story of a Dalit Woman's Education and Job, excerpts from the Autobiography of Kumud Pawde. In my previous class, I talked about up to the point where she started her studies in Sanskrit. We learned that she decided to do her BA in Sanskrit. This was something not very common. A Dalit woman studying Sanskrit language. Sanskrit is supposed to be the language that is learned by the Brahmins, the so-called upper sections of society. So when she decided to learn this language for her graduation, many people from her neighbors, the educated neighbors, they laughed at her. But somehow she was determined to continue with her dream. So she managed to get admission in Morris College, one of the famous colleges in Nagpur, and then she started her studies. All these aspects we mentioned in my last class. Now let us continue with our discussion. So she continued her studies and she passed her BA with good marks. After seeing her grade, she wants to continue her studies. She talks about the fair treatment that she received from the teachers during that time. So that made her to continue with her studies. So she joined MA in Sanskrit. Now, things started to change, She says that has two sides. Just like a coin, it has two sides. You have happy moments and also you have to experience some sad moments as well. So when she joined her MA program, she speaks about some of the difficult experiences that she had. For the second year in her studies, she moved to the postgraduate department of the university, and the head of the department of that Sanskrit department was a renowned scholar. He was well known in all over India, and his treatment was something that disturbed her. He didn't like Kumud studying Sanskrit, and he made it very clear as well. And often he made insulting comments, and that was very difficult for her to digest. It hurt her like anything. You understand, the head of the department trying to insult her, the student, because of her caste, how painful it would be for a student. And this is something that made her very disturbed, very much disturbed. And she also wondered how a scholar like him, who is well known over the country and who can talk about philosophy in very simple terms, but never preached that in his life. So this was something shocking and disturbing for her in her MA program. At the same time, there were teachers, some other teachers, who encouraged her. And again, here as well, she passed her program with good marks. And she remembers one of the teachers, Professor Kolte, who presented a bouquet as a token of appreciation to her. She was extremely happy and delighted. So here I would like to remind as teachers something that we have to consider. The future of our students depend on our attitude. The comments, the encouragement that we give to our students definitely shape their future. So here comes, so I mentioned that the different attitude. One teacher who was very much irritating, and also she compares him with another teacher, Gogeleji, that is how he calls him. He was traditional in his dress, attire, everything, but unlike the head of the department, who seems to wear modern clothes and modern in his thinking, but had a casteist mindset. So this is a very important point that she addresses, mentions. Then comes her search for job. This is always very, very difficult for people in our country, but especially a person who belongs to scheduled tribes or scheduled castes in a so-called lower sections of society. She thought that she completed her post-graduation in Sanskrit and she is going to be a lecturer in Sanskrit, and she believed that she is going to be the first person from the scheduled caste to become the lecturer. But when she attended interviews, she's sharing that experience as well. When she started attending interviews, it was quite disappointing. She was rejected by many boards, stating various reasons. Some said that, a person like you with great qualification, how can we appoint you? The salary is meager, some excuses. On the other hand, she also faced some other very disturbing caste comments. Now people belonging to these castes, they started teaching Sanskrit, government paid Brahmins. And these comments were received from people who belong to so-called lower sections of society, those who those who were considered reformers. That's what she says. And she mentions that how then the society will progress if this is the attitude. So she continued her search for job for almost 2 years. Then she took a bold step that changed her life. I'll talk about that in detail in next class. So thank you very much. We will discuss some questions and answers from this part. Thank you very much.